This is Chernobyevka airfield. Here it is, right next to Kherson city. This is a legendary place because as soon as Russia took it at the beginning of the war, they have been obsessed of concentrating their equipment on the Chernobyevka airfield. I remember covering about 10 different Ukrainian artillery missions, huge attacks that destroyed dozens of vehicles, several choppers, all on the ground. This is Ukrainian artillery before HIMARS. And Russians still kept pushing and pushing their equipment into the airfield, like they immediately forgot that this airfield can be striked again. These clips are now from liberated Chernobyevka airfield, and it is littered with destroyed Russian trucks, infantry fighting vehicles, dumb iron all over the place. This is a clip of Russian lend-lease to Ukraine in the form of a very first helicopter given, left on the Chernobyevka airfield for Ukrainian army to use it. According to Ukrainian Telegram channels, Ukrainian troops have landed on Dnipro spit. We're talking about Ukrainian troops crossing the Dnipro river right now, establishing a bridgehead for further assaults. They liberated everything up to Geroyskaya village, including it, and supposedly they're going to push even further on the left bank. I mean, Russians might think this water body is protecting them, but Ukrainians already have a bridgehead and they're advancing fast. Bear with me, we'll jump to the military map in no time. From the northern front, Ukrainians liberated the village of Makivka today. In this clip we can see Ukrainian troops driving through the settlement. There is not much left of it, unfortunately. Alright my friends, let's jump to the military map. Look at that! Ukrainian troops have liberated the right bank of the Dnipro river. It is beautiful to look at. Kherson and everything. I've seen people saying that Ukrainians did not liberate this area, the Russians left on their own accord. And to these people I want to say the following. Russians would never leave on their own accord, they would never give away territory. Their leaving was the result of methodical destruction of all ammunition storages and warehouses and logistical centers and staging areas in range. Russians left because Ukrainian HIMARS destroyed all of their logistics in the past 3 months. All credit for the Russian retreat goes to the Ukrainian army. Today, my friends, we have a sponsor, and after the sponsor we will look into what happens now, what next. History Mail is a great gift for history buffs who love the lost art of letter writing. History Mail was started by a group of history enthusiasts who relished the idea of getting letters from historical figures weekly, almost as if directly from Benjamin Franklin's or Thomas Edison's desk straight to yours. Every week a stamped envelope is delivered to your doorstep, containing the reproduction of a letter penned by a historical figure, supported by a document providing historical context, and a typed version of the letter. They offer 10 weekly letters for only $59.99, but they also have letter packs for 25 letters, and a yearly pack of 52 letters for more in-depth exploration of various historical periods. History Mail helps to plant a tree with every order and raise funds to support global afforestation efforts. They support global charities like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to help with their afforestation operations. History Mail's American History Gift Pack covers letters from 1776, with the founding of the Republic, all the way into 1976, with the Cold War at its height. For example, this is a letter from Walt Disney to Richard Nixon. Cool, right? And this is a condolence letter from Queen Victoria to Mrs. Mary Todd Lincoln. Queen Victoria writes to her as a friend, not as a queen, revealing her own mourning of her late lost husband, Prince Albert. A rare glimpse at the inner life of Queen Victoria. It is the best gift to give a history lover. If you gift the letters to someone and wish to surprise them, then you can send them a beautiful personalized gift certificate with your name and the receiver's name on it. The best way to surprise your loved ones, from your friends to your parents. Click the link in the description below or go to historymail.com/Estonian69, and when you order, use the code Estonian69 to get 10% off of each order. Happy exploring. But what happens now? The Dnipro River, as can be seen here, acts as a perfect boundary between Russian and Ukrainian forces. All of the bridges are blown up by Russians. Crossing it with boats is very dangerous. For the fact that there is this water body, this means that staging a huge amount of troops here, it's not necessary for both sides because they're not expecting an attack from the enemy over this river. It means Russia can deploy forces elsewhere and Ukraine can deploy their forces elsewhere. The difference though is that Ukrainian army rotates their troops troops, but Russian army troops have been in Kherson and in the surrounding areas for months without rotation. Russia does not rotate. Their troops right now are tired, under-equipped and demoralized because they have spent months lacking food and equipment. Ukrainian troops, on the other hand, are moralized because they just gained a huge victory and they have just rotated. They are rested. Ukraine can deploy all of these Kherson offensive troops to other fronts to use them as needed, but Russia cannot do that. They need to regroup, reorganize, re-equip their troops and reform units because there's so many casualties. You cannot use old units. All of this takes time, so from this point on I would say situation favors the Ukrainians. And supposedly from Telegram today I read that Ukrainians crossed this water body here. Technically, it is crossing the Dnipro river, although it's much closer to the sea. They liberated these settlements of Prokhovske, Pokrovka, Vasilivka here, and all the way up to Geroyske, including Geroyske, this settlement. So supposedly Ukrainian troops are on this line here right now and they are pushing onwards. There is no pause. Immediately if Kherson and the areas were taken, Ukrainians cross to the left bank of the Dnipro and the battle continues. They have the momentum. Keep it going until you have it. I have to say this disclaimer, this comes from only one Telegram channel. There is a lot of misinformation going on, so take it all with a grain of salt. Time will give answers. But I think a huge bulk of the fighting will be carried over to Bakhmut and Svatovie and Avdiivka directions. Makivka, the village liberated today, is here, this one. And since troops will be arriving from the Kherson offensive to these fronts, I think Ukraine might start to push here again. This is Major General Andrei Kovalchuk arriving in Kherson city. The emotion speaks for itself. It is not staged, unlike Russian referendum footages. They couldn't even get enough people to come to the street for it to look like a crowd. This is real joy and gratitude in the eyes of the Ukrainian people. They have been liberated, they're once again connected to their homeland and culture. It is all very wholesome and there's a ton of videos of Ukrainian troops entering the settlements, villages, connecting with their relatives, mothers seeing their sons, didn't know if they were alive. I'm so glad I'm able to watch these videos. We've all been waiting for this for months. What about Russian losses when they pulled back? Ukrainians have captured a ton of Russian equipment and ammunition from Kherson and the surrounding areas. For some reason, Russians always leave their ammunition behind when they leave. I mean, Ukrainian weaponry matches with Russian weaponry, so they can use it all immediately. In this video, we can see how people kept their Ukrainian flags hidden away from the Russian forces under occupation. Now it's time to take them out again and wave them proudly. And I gotta say, this is a good hiding spot. This is footage from Russians blowing up the Novagahovka bridge. There is a dam and there's a motorway bridge connected to it. The aim of the explosion was not to destroy the dam, otherwise this would empty the Novagahovka reservoir and leave Crimean Canal without water. This is a very cool footage of Ukrainian Mi-8 flying its attack mission. As we can see time and time again before, it points its nose up, shoots all of the rockets and immediately breaks away, deploying flares. Since Russians are using very slow Iranian drones en masse, Ukrainians have a counter to it. They have started to deploy these special anti-drone units. These units have weaponry that cannot shoot down jets, they cannot shoot down helicopters. It's quite easy for them to shoot down these drones. This double machine gun anti-drone crew has been shooting down drones with it for 1.5 months, and the count is 80 drones in 45 days with this weapon. So it is very effective, very cheap, robust. Russia is forced to send out more and more drones with each attack because otherwise less and less of them connect to their targets. In some areas in Ukraine, the interception rate of drones is 80%, so 2 drones out of 10 connect to their targets. This video comes from around Moscow. There is an aggressive, newly mobilized man who is not pleased with his training and is confronting his officer. He's going physical with it. We're gonna watch the video together. It gives us an idea of what is going on near the capital of Russia, where they also train troops. Let me remind you, this shorter man, he's a superior officer to this newly mobilized big dude. This video clearly shows who has the authority here.
Да нахуй мне нужен? Мы на войне строим будем ходить, блядь. Нет, а хули вы тогда это делаете? Да, серьезно? Хорошо, пацаны, давай, сейчас. Какого хера мы пишем, блядь, бумажки того, чего нам не хватает, блядь. И для этого мы потом собираем тут толпу, устраиваем хуй пойми что, это профанация, блядь. Имитация стрельб, имитация учений и имитация строевого строя.
Estonian conscript service versus Russia conscript service, Estonian one is much more effective. It teaches you a lot more, you use your weapon a lot more, but still we imitate. Everybody imitates at the beginning, so I cannot say this here is because Russia lacks ammunition for Kalashnikovs. No, troops are not given weapons immediately, they imitate shooting, and this conscript here does not like it, I guess. I didn't like it at all. It's dull to say shot for you're given a weapon. But this is how the training is. First you imitate, then you get a real weapon.
По 15 патронов нахуй приходи стрелять, зарядив их 2 рожка и сообразив, блядь, воображаемого противника на танковом полигоне, воображаемому противнику, блядь.
As much as I would like to hate on this, saying how bad Russian training is, this is the training. If you are a newbie, if you're a new conscript, you imitate and you shoot at imaginary targets or just areas, and you do these dull drills of getting into position, shooting at nobody, because there's even no targets at the beginning. You just do the exercise of moving into position, shooting and going away. This conscript doesn't like it, but that's how it is in the military. I mean...
Сколько раз? 2 раза на пристрелке и 1 раз на учебно-контрольных стрельбах. 1 раз мы... Помолчи, блядь. 1 раз мы были на полигоне для стрелков. Все остальное время мы на танковом полигоне занимаемся дрочью.
Oh no.
Какое там слаживание? Вас самих привести, посмотреть, может, внимательно. Со мной побегаете, послаживаете? Ну давайте, пойдем прямо сейчас побегаем, послаживаемся. Я вам покажу, как. Давайте я буду говорить, пацаны, я начал, я закончу. Базар идет пока только со стороны Минобороны. Как никакого базара? Я еще раз говорю, почему мы стреляем по вопросу?
So, as I understand, the issue with this mobilized man is that he wants to shoot real guns with real bullets, and he's not allowed to yet. But I do wonder why is he not allowed to, because we have instances of Russians giving live ammunition and weapons registered to no one, just to drunk mobilized personnel. So why are they not giving him a weapon with bullets? I don't know.
Воображаемой пехоте противника, где мишени, которые поднимаются, выдвигаются. Почему мы проводим тренировки по стрельбам на танковом полигоне? Что значит у нас определено? Я вам сейчас ваше место определю. Запросто. Я думаю, покажу.
Okay, people are laughing. He says, I'll define your place. This officer's authority is gone. He's nothing in front of his men. He's humiliated right now. I mean, this is the situation in the Russian military. I mean, most capable officers are in Ukraine or are dead. So these officers are left to train the troops. They have no authority, they have no knowledge.
И оно более достойно будет, чем в данный момент. Да. Ну, здорово. Правда? Да. У нас, блядь, мы 2 недели лежали, из 2 недель там 5 раз ходили на стрельбы по 15 патрон, блядь.
In 2 weeks we went shooting 5 times 15 bullets at the same time. This is good for the Russians, because 12-month conscripts, Russians do a 12-month conscript service, and then in that 12 months I've heard they shoot 3 to 4 times, and the rest of the time they do logistical work like building roads or houses to oligarchs. So if these men got to shoot 5 times in 2 weeks, they're already great. Russia doesn't do that for conscripts, so, and this dude wants more. In my conscripts time, all we did was shoot. Like, we shot every day for 8 months. You shoot your weapon like too many times. But in Russia they don't do that, and I guess this man wants more.
У нас... Да это все подразделения. Это все подразделения. Если у вас там кто-то особенный, то это хорошо. Это все подразделения. У нас приезжает друг нашего командира взвода, спецназер, нас тренировать, потому что от вас, блядь, никого нету. Потому что те, кто есть, они не могут...
I gotta say, the frustration this man has, every new conscript has it. You don't want to imitate, but you have to imitate just to make sure you know the movements, you know the drill before you get a weapon in your hands. What I can take away from this is, the communication of newly mobilized conscript humiliating his officer in front of his men. I mean, the authority was supposed to be with the officer, but it's the opposite in this one. And if you're an officer without authority, you cannot train your men, they will not listen to you, they will not do what you want. This is a very big issue in Russia because training officers takes time and the most capable officers are already dead or fighting in Ukraine. So how are you supposed to train 300,000 freshly mobilized troops who need authority? Who need somebody to respect and look up to? You don't have these men in Russia anymore. My friends, thank you for coming back. Thank you for watching my videos. I see a lot of you have seen my podcast with Operator Starsky, link in the description below. It was so much fun, but today I just made a podcast with Sukhomaimes. He's a person who analyzes satellite photos about Ukrainian war and makes intelligence about them. Tomorrow I have a podcast coming up with Ryan Macbeth, so subscribe to my podcast channel, a lot of cool podcasts coming up. If you want to follow my personal life, Instagram is also in the description below. I'll see you there. Or you can support me on Patreon. Until my next video, Slava Ukraini!